on YouTube.
I am live. I am here. And you are here.
I am live.
We are here. We are all together.
We're live. It's been a while.
Been very much.
It's been a sec. Everyone's been busy. Being an adult sucks. Don't do it.
This
if
isn't
you do it, at least you can drink.
This isn't a full-time job, so we do what we do.
We are not ESPN.
No.
We are in fact.
Wants to sponsor?
I will happily drink a Michelob Ultra on stream if it gets me a sponsorship.
I would not be interested in a sponsorship by ESPN.
Me neither. But how we doing tonight, everybody that is filing into the stream? Yeah, it has been a while since we've done anything. Not a ton to talk about over the off season here, but honestly, I think we've all gotten some time to cool down a little bit. Obviously, you know, this, like we said, is not our full-time job. Everyone's been kind of busy, but we're back. We got the boys together, minus Anthony.
Who knows if he comes back?
Yeah, who knows if Four Corners makes a proper return. At this point, we just... maybe not. But let's we'll just kind of go around real quick. Like, how's everyone doing tonight? How's everyone been? Update the audience. Let everyone know how we're doing here. Trent, you're getting married.
Mm-hmm. Lots of planning, lots of classes. So it's been a balancing act, and I'm tired.
Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Ender, how you been up there, man? How you been?
Doing good. I'm thinking about planning on going back to college soon.
Nice.
Oh, okay, there you go. That's not a bad idea. I do need to look into going to school. I've thought about sending Full Sail because I don't know if my local USU branch actually has the program that I would want, but it is what it is. Hopefully what?
You're talking to a graduate of Full Sail. I like Full Sail. They get you what you need to do your program degree.
That's fair.
This is
fair.
sponsored.
This is not sponsored. Brody has firsthand experience. So let's kick off, the big billboard part of tonight's program. CJ Stroud gets his 5th year option picked up. And I have not looked on, like, any of the, like, Texans social media. Like, I haven't looked at anything, but judging from what we were hearing about him over the last couple of years, like, this is probably a kind of polarizing move for the Texans, because the way I look at it, like, he had all that promise his rookie season, and, like, everyone was, like, didn't he get MVP votes that year?
Maybe?
Yeah, he got MVP votes. He placed 8th in MVP voting. And then after that, it's just been mid. Like, he hasn't thrown more than 23 touchdowns in his career. Didn't throw 20 last year. They still go to the playoffs. There were points last season where Davis Mills was where the fans were calling for Davis Mills to start. But what do you guys think about this? Like, how are you guys feeling about this? I'll kick this over to Ender first. Let him talk about CJ Stroud here, and then we'll jump down to Trent.
It's beginning to feel like Stroud's time with the Texans is slowly coming to an end. He's just been slowly diminishing in his stats since his rookie year in 2023. I'm looking at his stats. His yardage has consistently gone down. His touchdowns have consistently gone down. I don't know what happened in 2024 for him to throw 12 interceptions.
Turn, or you done?
Yeah.
We're a bit disjointed.
There was
once still getting used to streaming.
There was once a quarterback drafted in 1986 by the Los Angeles Rams named Jim Everett. He was promising. In year 2, he had 10 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. But then in year 3, 31 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. Then 29 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. They make the playoffs in 1989. But in that playoff game, Jim Everett was ambushed by the defensive line. And ever since then, he was what you would call shell shocked. I think the same thing has happened to CJ Stroud. I don't think he. I think he's regressing because he's just taken too many hits.
I know that Texans offensive line is something that has been much maligned during his time. It's been that, it's been the lack of a run game. And Stroud has really only had that defense to really take any pressure off of him. Problem becomes though is the defense can still only take so much pressure off of him. And I, the Texans really have not had any semblance of an offensive line, it feels like. I would be willing to say, like, to go out on a limb and say they're almost going to do to CJ Stroud what they did to David Carr.
That's how I feel.
Maybe less extreme because I feel like CJ has more to work with than David Carr did at the time. Like, I think a team could swoop in and salvage CJ Stroud today. Like, I still think CJ is a very talented quarterback. I think 3 straight years have taken a ridiculous amount of hits. Like like Trent said, like they are starting to get to him, and he is starting to get gun shy. He doesn't trust that offensive line, and why should he?
If he can get an offensive line like he had when he first started in his rookie year, and like he had back at Ohio State, I think he could come back to be a damn good quarterback.
I think this sounds very like I can see where you're coming from, but I think once a quarterback takes so many hits, even if you have an offensive line in front of him, it's hard to come back from. Not saying that it can't happen, but we're getting into the danger zone with that. With I think CJ right now.
Well, I feel like I believe in CJ Stroud so much because we saw 2 different teams sustain a turnaround with Sam Darnold.
Yes.
And Sam Darnold, I feel like, is the real case study, like, of this generation for turnaround quarterbacks. Because he was nothing with the Jets. Those O-lines weren't good at all. Who did he even have in, like, the backfield his first couple of years? Like, it was, like, a wash Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
At some point in the backfield. Like, Darnold was almost in the same circumstance as Stroud. I think Darnold was thrown into the fire too early, obviously. Like, I think he was way more raw than CJ was coming out of college. And USC quarterbacks historically have not done the best. Cough, cough, Matt Leinart. But
let me...
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just say this. I'm looking at Pro Football Reference.
Yes.
In 2024, Stroud took 52 sacks in 17 games. In 14 games, he took 23 in 2025. So is it really a problem with the offensive line, or is he just gun shy?
He took how many?
23.
It's not quite 2 per game, but you're getting close.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say it's all that offensive line either.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
It's not all the offensive line, but I really think, though, taking, what was it, 90 sacks in your first 2 years?
38 and 52, yeah.
Yeah, that's enough to completely shatter that trust in the offensive line.
But how many times was he hit? Let me look at that.
I'll see if you can find how many times he actually got hit, like, just in that span, or just last year.
Last year.
It feels like Stroud has no faith in his offensive line. It's making too quick of decisions with the ball.
It could also be an offensive coordinator situation.
That too. But, like, even if we go look at somebody like a David Carr too, his first 2 years, he took 100, or not quite that many. He took 91 sacks in his his first 2 years.
By the time they started getting anybody on their team, he was done.
Yeah, like he somehow in 03 he only took 15 sacks, but I also didn't see how many games he started. 12 or 11 games that year. But then it was like 49, 68, 41. and then there was just nothing afterwards with David Carr. I am in agreement that you're starting to get into the danger zone a little bit with CJ Stroud in that regard. He hasn't taken the same beating that David Carr did, especially year one, dude. 76 sacks in year one would break almost any rookie quarterback, I feel like.
Yeah, there was
Like,
nothing for him to work with.
not a damn thing. And like David Carr never even really had that good in numbers. Like we've seen CJ Stroud have really good stretches of football. And then it's almost like he just kind of forgets how to play football sometimes because he is so gun shy at this point.
He had a
Go
13.
playing
Oh, sorry.
like a prime quarterback, and then he'd get hit, and then he all of a sudden all his football knowledge is just gone.
Yeah.
Well, when you're in that situation, like when you come to a point where you can't trust that offensive line, all a quarterback is going to be running off of his instinct because he doesn't think that the line is going to be able to hold up for him to actually get through his progressions. So you're going to get a guy that's going to be more nervous in the pocket. He's going to move more in the pocket. He's going to bail on pockets earlier than he otherwise would have. And that's like I do think that like you can mend that back into a quarterback, but it's not an easy process. How long did it take to get Sam Darnold to where he is after the start he had to his career? Like he had to go to Shanahan, he had to go. I can't think of the Vikings head coach right now, Kevin O'Connell. And then he goes to a defensive-minded head coach, but he's got Clint Kubiak there with him. Kubiak's a huge name in the NFL, obviously. Like, it took 3 different regimes to, like, fully get him back together.
Hell, after 6 years with the New York Giants, Daniel Jones is showing life.
Yeah. I think if any lesson taught us, or if anything taught us any lesson last year, it's that quarterbacks can be salvaged.
Yeah.
And that something in the cycle is broken.
Do you think that the offense ran better with Davis Mills?
Davis Mills is a bit of a weird case. I think that it's a little more polished because I think because Mills hasn't like had I guess just enough time behind that offensive line or like in taking those hits as the backup to develop that distrust. But I think it raises the floor, but I think it lowers the ceiling.
Yeah.
Because I still think CJ Stroud provides so much more than Davis Mills does. Mills is a damn good backup. I think he's one of those guys that could easily be like a fringe or a bridge starter for a lot of teams. But he's not, like I said, like it's a floor raiser for sure because I don't think we've seen him play nearly as bad as CJ Stroud can. But he also, I don't know if he hits the highs that CJ can either.
Yeah. It was a bad, what was it, playoffs for him? Like, you have to admit, like, that Steelers game did not look good.
Oh, yeah.
And that's...
No, 2 games, 5 picks. How many fumbles did he have as well, if I can find those? Like, only 2 touchdown passes is also wild.
He did 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and had 6 sacks on the games.
Yeah, he also had 5 fumbles in the playoffs.
I think a lot of the issue is I just don't think CJ Stroud and the Texans are a good match. I think if CJ Stroud were to go to another team, he might do better, but he has to go to the right team that can provide for CJ Stroud.
I almost wonder what he would look like as a Carolina Panther. Like, I can't help but think about it.
If he can get an O-line that he doesn't need to worry about.
But that O-line in Carolina isn't good either.
Not particularly, no.
I think, who's a quarterback? Like, Mark Sanchez played pretty well coming in.
Mark Sanchez had some really good years early, but he had some, like, dynamite guys to throw to in those first couple of years, didn't he?
He had...
Because who was he throwing to?
Santonio Holmes at the end, right? No? Who was he throwing? He had Thomas Jones as his running back.
All right, well, now I'm going to go find the 2009 Jets roster.
Did he have?
Because now I'm actually really it was Thomas Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 09, yeah, who is he throwing to in 09? I am actually very interested at this point. So let me go find the receiving numbers because that'll give me everything I need there. Bada bing, bada boom. So Jericho Cotchery. Wow, okay. Not the best receivers, actually. Jericho Cotchery for 821 yards. Braylon Edwards. Dustin Keller.
Ooh.
Who am I? Am I thinking of maybe 2010? That he would have got like some really good receivers to work with because they went 11-5 in 2010.
They went to the AFC Championship. I like CJ Stroud. It is funny as hell how fast people change their tune after one season.
No, 100%. Like I do think that like CJ is a good quarterback. I think he either needs out of Houston or he needs something in either just he needs a running game is what he needs, honestly.
Running game, and I think a different offensive coordinator. It might be the offensive coordinator, and D'Amico Ryans isn't really a offensive guru.
Yeah, well, his whole like background is like he was a linebacker, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
for the Texans and the Eagles. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I honestly think CJ Stroud immediately benefits from a better running game. I would not be shocked to see Houston go running back round 1, honestly.
I mean, if you look at the way that the last two Super Bowl champions were built, running the ball,
strong defense and a running game.
Yeah.
Like we're basically back to like 1990s football. Like we've come full circle.
Yeah, but no one wants to admit that.
No, nobody wants to admit it. Okay, so in 2010, it wasn't much better. So Braylon Edwards was the leading receiver on that team with 904 yards. Santonio Holmes had 746.
And he got suspended.
Dustin Keller had 687. Jericho Cotchery had 433. Oh, yeah, and LaDainian Tomlinson was there on a retirement tour or something.
He was not good that year.
What did he rush for? Just like as a slight passing thing now. I have to see how many yards this guy rushed.
I think it was
for
like
that year.
600 or 700.
It actually wasn't bad.
No?
914.
That's not LT numbers, though.
It's not LT numbers, but you'll take that every day. If a shell of a guy is 914 yards on 4.2 a pop, sign me up.
That is actually pretty good. Okay.
Well, and then he had Sean Green behind him for 766 on 4.1 a pop.
Not bad.
A wide receiver got 38 carries for 299 yards. Brad Smith had a no.
And you look at the Jets; they had a running game, and then once they started trying to
they had a good defense and a good running game.
Maybe CJ Stroud is one of those quarterbacks that needs a running game, and that there's no problem with that.
No, there's no fault in that.
If you look at the best teams, they all relied on running games. Like even the greatest show on turf.
Greatest show on turf, the 98 Broncos, hell, the 97 Broncos.
Yeah. I mean, Marino would have. You see Marino. Oh, sorry.
Do what, Ender?
2006, Colts relied heavy on their running game.
Joseph Adai and Dominic Rhodes. And then you have, Marino.
2017 Eagles.
Oh, yeah. LeGarrette Blount.
Dude, the LeGarrette Blount postseason run was so good.
And you look at people like Marino who would have benefited with the run game.
Oh, 100%.
You put Marino on the Niners team.
Bro. Part of me is honestly surprised with how many passes Marino was throwing. How did that guy not tear his UCL? I know UCLs are more of a baseball injury, but the amount of pass attempts that guy was putting up, surely that guy would have had to rip something, right?
He just had a very fluid and quick motion. That's the thing. He's still, arguably one of the fastest quarterbacks on the draw.
Yeah.
Greatest show on turf had Marshall Faulk. Yes.
Didn't even the later Rams,
Steven Jackson.
Yeah, Steven Jackson.
That was when they started trashing the joint.
Yeah, the Steelers had the bus in the early 2000s. even then, like the Broncos were still competing with Brian Greasy at quarterback because they had Terrell Davis.
The Patriots had Corey Dillon.
The Pats, and then like even the late Pats too. Like though they were cycling through guys, like they still ran the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I think the real lesson to take from this before we move on from CJ is that if the Texans get a running game, I think you fix CJ Stroud.
I think you
it takes
fire
a
the.
minute, but I think you fix him.
Who's their OC?
Hold on.
That's a great question.
I will look that up.
I think Trent's on the draw too. Let's see who wins. Who wins the lookup battle?
I'm sure Ender is.
Nick Caley is
Yeah.
the offensive
Nick
coordinator
Haley.
for Houston Texans.
Well, what's his background? Focus on fundamental football, balancing running game through throwing to create high-scoring, efficient offense. Known for his
See, and that's
work
the thing.
with tight ends and passing game strategy. So
He was tight ends coach for Los Angeles Rams in 2023 and tight ends coach for the Patriots from 2017 to 2022.
he doesn't sound qualified to me.
I don't know.
He's held two Super Bowl championships.
Davis Webb was a quarterbacks coach for 2 years, and now he's an OC.
Yeah, but I think tight ends coach is different than quarterback coach.
I feel like that path is probably like closer to like TE coach and then like pass game coordinator or like senior offensive assistant and then OC.
Yeah.
I think with this stint with the Houston Texans, this is his first like major coaching role.
Yeah, Brian Greasy had plenty of good backs like Clinton Portis and Mike Anderson.
Yeah, Mike Anderson.
I always like Clinton Portis.
That one, like some of those guys that the Broncos had in the early 2000s at running backs, like you kind of forget about them, but like you look at their numbers and you're like, wow, this guy was actually kind of good. Like I'm pretty sure Tatum Bell had a couple of really good years as a Bronco. I'd have to pull that.
Tatum Bell, yeah, I remember him. No Sean Moreno.
Yeah, Tatum Bell had back-to-back years of like 900 yards and 1,000 yards, and I don't even know if he was the primary back for Plummer those years.
I think so, if I remember correctly.
When did Mike Anderson leave Denver? Because by this point, Portis was gone. Who the hell was... No, it had to be Mike Anderson. And yeah, it was Anderson in 05, and he went for $1,000.
Yeah.
That was his last real good year, too.
It's
like his rookie year, he had 1,400 yards, and then everything else was so mid, and then, like, in 05, he just bounces back and has another random 1,000-yard season.
Didn't you guys have... Champ Bailey came from,
the Clinton Portis trade.
And I don't even remember. When was that? It was, like, early 2000s?
That was, like...
2001?
Oh... No, it wasn't that early. I almost want to say it was 2004.
Well, 2004, he was already on the Skins. More importantly, the Broncos had Shanahan, who was devoted to the run. That is true.
1,000%. And I think that is another factor, too, is like you need a coach that is fully committed to actually running the ball.
Yeah, I think the Texans would definitely benefit from a running offensive coordinator.
So so the way that I look at this now, like with kind of what we've discussed, I think since they picked up his Strouds 5th-year option, I think this is a do or die year for Nick Haley.
Yeah.
I think if Haley doesn't produce results this season with CJ, I think he's canned.
You also have to fire your offensive line coach.
You think D'Amico gets fired too?
Offensive line?
Oh, the O-line coach, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Did they already fire him, or are they keeping him on?
I'm not actually sure. I can probably pull that up real quick. Did the Texans replace their O-line coach? I do know that the Texans did. They did get rid of Zach Yenser. They hired James Ferentz.
I mean, Jeff Stoutland's out there.
Have they even hired anybody for the O-line coach yet?
Cole Popovich is the offensive line coach for Houston.
Who?
Cole Popovich.
Cole Popovich. What is his
Greg
background?
Popovich?
Wikipedia. What's his background? Okay, so his background. So he was O-line coach at LA Valley College,
Oh boy.
O-line coach at Fresno City, grad assistant at Utah State, O-line and co-offensive coordinator at Minot State. Was an assistant for the Pats from 2016 to 2018. Then he was their assistant RB coach, then their O-line coach. Went to Franklin High School to be an O-line coach. Went to Troy in 22 to be an O-line coach. And so now he is the primary O-line coach and the run game coordinator. And he had that role last season. Assistant, O-line coach and then offensive run game coordinator.
Montgomery might help. I forget about
Yeah.
Montgomery.
Yeah, having Montgomery is I think it does help Houston. Like they get a battering ram there. I'm still not shocked if they take a running back in the top 100 though. Like I think that it's a relatively deep running back class. I think it's a little top heavy, but like there's talent to be found later in the draft.
What do you think of getting like a Reggie Bush type
In Houston?
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd be a really good 1-2 punch with Montgomery for a couple of years. And again, like I do think that solid run game really helps to fix CJ Stroud.
Yeah, because then
that's where I'm gonna leave this.
Because then you could probably do what Peyton did and use the screen as an extension of the run game.
Right.
All right.
Ender, you got any closing thoughts on CJ Stroud before we move on?
Stop being scared in the pocket and actually play good.
All right, Ender, you brought this up before we started the show, but the Chicago Bears might be Chicagoant pretty quick. What do you got for us there?
Based on what I'm hearing, that things in Illinois are stalling. They had an option for 3 different locations in Illinois to pick.
I might scoot back from your mic a little. You are a smidge crispy.
I can't even hear him.
Yeah,
my mic being weird again.
Oh, that sounded better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yes.
So from what I'm hearing and what I've seen, the Chicago Bears had a choice of, I think, 3 different places, including Arlington Heights. The other 2 fell through due to the NFL and Chicago Bears rejecting them. So now it's Arlington Heights or nothing. So if they don't pass legislation to get Arlington Heights going, they will be Indiana bound.
Then they're off to Indiana.
Because right now it's between Arlington Heights and Hammond.
Honestly, too, I don't know the Illinois, especially given like just the climate of everything right now. I don't know if the Indiana or if the Illinois voters are going to be willing to sign off on that. I actually wonder, is that like a state thing that they got to sign off on, or is that a city thing? Probably a state thing.
State thing because it has to do with taxes.
That's right. Okay, and that's what because the whole like gridlock on that is it would raise taxes, wouldn't it? Because the fucking McCaskies won't do it themselves.
So from Adam Schefter on Twitter, Chicago Bears will decide where to build their stadium in the next few weeks per league sources. If Illinois doesn't pass legislation for Arlington Heights soon, sources believe the Bears are likely to be Indiana bound.
Oof.
2 proposed sites in Chicago are considered not feasible per sources. Next to Soldier Field for political reasons, and the land known as Michael Reese was evaluated and rejected by the NFL and the Bears.
Oof.
So it was a no on Michael Reese from the NFL and Bears itself, and Soldier Field was a no due to political reasons.
Wow. So it really is all or nothing. We are going to live in a world. It just feels increasingly likely that we are going to live in a world where the Bears don't play in Chicago.
I think the messed up part is that in Hammond, I think it is closer to downtown Chicago than their current place right now.
Probably. I would have to look this up on a map because I'm no geography buff, but That's crazy though. Hammond, Indiana is closer to downtown Chicago than where the Bears play right now. That's crazy.
It mostly has to do with state taxes. I
Because
think
they would have to raise, because the proposal is to raise like income tax or something, isn't it? Or sales tax?
sales tax. It's more to do with like sales tax in Indiana is 7%, and sales tax in Illinois is 10%. So the McCaskey plan to finance the majority of their projected $5 billion Arlington Heights Stadium project themselves, but are seeking $855 million in public funding for infrastructure.
Okay, so maybe that is something that Illinois, like, that the voters would sign off on, but like I'm not 100% sure.
It's just they want better tax incentives for being there, because their residential tax in Illinois is lower than commercial, and commercial gets I made a video on this. I can't remember what I said, but it is they want a fixed rate on their property tax instead of it being bumped up.
Oh. Okay, and that's the whole gridlock on that.
That's part of it, yeah. I just think there's a problem with just taxes, and it's taxes. We can't.
It's taxes.
Unfortunately, this is a conversation where it's teetering on the realm of political.
Yeah.
And it's not a.
It's a conversation us peasants wouldn't understand.
Hello, Fire Goddess. But yeah, I get where the Bears are coming from.
Yeah.
They want.
Because from their end, you can make a case either way, like
yeah,
for either side of this.
Because they're putting up $5 billion, and you know they're putting up the $5 billion, and then they're going to be paying for the materials and things like that. If the city of Chicago just gave them a discount on the taxes, they would probably they would generate a lot more. They're going to generate a lot more revenue for the city of Chicago than if they could than they're going to spend. You know.
Right.
Yes. Go last month.
You got anything else on this?
With the deal in Indiana, they're getting 35 years of no property taxes, so
that's hard to beat. I think we're gonna live in a Indiana Bears world. Except they're probably not gonna rebrand.
No,
they'll still be the Chicago Bears.
Unless they call themselves the Decatur Staleys or something like that.
That would be kind of fire.
Because they're gonna go back to being the Staleys. Go play.
Throw it, yeah.
We got the Indianapolis Colts. We'll get the fucking Hammond Bears.
Decatur Staley. I'm on board with Decatur Staleys.
Go back to their original.
Yeah, I'm on board.
Like there's no loyalty, and it's hard because okay, I live in California, and I get why the Raiders left. I get why the A's left. I get why the Warriors left.
Yeah.
And this is a situation where I get why the Bears want to leave.
I don't know.
It's hard. It sucks for the fans and it sucks for the city because they're not going to get the revenue that they got with the Chicago Bears get there. But I don't think it has anything to do with like crime or anything like that. Although I've heard the stories of like the Oakland area people stabbing the opposing fans. I'm never going to like blame the people. I'm looking at this at a plain like financial situation.
Yeah, it's a business.
And
it's a business at the end of the day, and these are business-oriented people that we are in fact talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The When Colts win from Baltimore, it comes down to the fact that it's a business. They got to make money somehow.
Yeah. I mean, like, did anybody think Baltimore was going to leave? Oh my gosh, look who it is!
Anthony!
What's up, chat?
Poking in half an hour in. We take it. How's it going, buddy?
You know, I could have helped, but my spider senses were tingling, knowing that there's a Colts fan who's enjoying his day. So I had to come here and ruin it.
I did nothing wrong.
You know,
so right now we're talking Bears with the whole shtick they're having with Chicago and whether or not they're gonna go to Indiana. So Ender was the one that brought this up pre-show. If anything, I'll let him go back over it just because my brain does not want to. But
let's see.
So what were the stipulations, Ender?
So
please
Chicago
handle
Bears
this.
are going to decide where to build their stadium in the next 2 weeks. Per league sources. This is from Adam Schaefer on Twitter. If Illinois doesn't pass legislation for Arlington Heights soon, sources are to believe that the Bears are to be Indiana bound. The two proposed sites in Chicago are considered not feasible per sources. Next to Soldier Field for political reasons, and the land known as Michael Reese was evaluated and rejected by the NFL and the Bears. So it is Arlington Heights or nothing for the Bears.
so they're either going from the Chicago, where it's like real high crime, to Gary, Indiana, where another high crime place.
Hammond,
I
Indiana.
mean, they go from one poverty. What place?
Hammond,
Indiana.
Oh, Hammond, Indiana. I mean, worst case. I mean, Chicago is the one who butchered this whole deal. They wanted to charge more taxes than California does for SoFi Stadium. And that's in California where it's so expensive. They are butchering this deal. If the Chicago Bears leave, that's Indiana's fault.
Chicago's.
I mean, Chicago, whatever. That's their fault. So I don't blame Chicago.
I don't know that it stays as a city issue when it involves taxes, because I think Trent brought this up. I think it goes to the state legislature if it's tax related.
I think
like
Ender said.
Yeah, I think Ender said that. Somebody in here said that. So it's less a city of Chicago issue and more
Illinois.
a state of Illinois issue.
So either way, it's the government's fault.
On one end, the government wants more taxes out of the $1 billion franchise, and the $1 billion franchise doesn't want to pay more in taxes.
Yeah.
Taxes on the land, or go to Hammond where they have 35 years of no property taxes.
And if I'm making a decision purely on business, I almost guarantee the Bears are playing in Hammond, Indiana.
You do have to look at it like, how much revenue are you generating for the city and for the state? Is it worth cutting property taxes for you? Because you're going to be generating tons of money just based on ticket sales. Because that's like taxable income, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah. Well, they're essentially running as a business, so it is just taxable revenue.
And it's going to be making money for the Bears. It's going to be making money for Indiana. It's going to, especially Hammond.
Indiana's going to be a rich state, man.
I mean, Indianapolis is already hosting a lot of things.
Oh my God.
That it
I mean,
is.
heck, downtown they just got the NCAA bracket down, and they're already putting up the Indy 500 graphics.
Hey, there they go.
I forget that's in the area. That makes sense.
The Indy 500?
I forget. I don't watch racing.
Okay,
No,
fair
yeah,
enough.
I don't watch racing.
You're wearing a
But
Led Zeppelin shirt.
Indianapolis is considered the racing capital of the world.
Fire shirt, by the way.
I love
Fire
Led
shirt.
Zeppelin.
Thank you. So I mean,
Okay.
honestly, what the big issue is, from what I've read, it's mostly the Chicago Bears just want something that's comparable to what the other franchises are paying, and Chicago is being greedy. Or the state of Illinois is being greedy with it, and they're gonna lose the Chicago Bears should stay in Chicago. Like, that's iconic, but at the same time, it's the city's fault. They just want all of the Chicago Bears wants them to do is help pay for the roads, the infrastructure, the roads and the plumbing. and to lower the taxes to be comparable to what other franchises are paying. And it's outrageous for what they're asking for. And I'm not defending the billionaires. What I am defending is make it comparable to what California is paying. And I want to say they're paying like 3, 4. If they were to stay in Chicago, like 3 to 5 more % than what the Rams and Chargers are paying.
And Rams generate a lot of work tax to oblivion over here.
I feel like the Rams have to generate more revenue. Like, you probably get more travel revenue out of the Chargers just because of how many opposing fans go to those games. Chargers do not have a home field. But like I feel like in that, like, the Rams have to be probably the bigger moneymaker out of those. I did want to keep it pushing forward though.
Okay, good, because I was about to get a little political.
And we're at 40 minutes. We were gonna, and we've gotten through 2 subjects, so we got a couple things to go to. I'm gonna let Ender take the lead again on this one because this does relate to the Colts. Kenny Moore and the Colts are mutually seeking a trade. So tell us what that means firstly for the Colts, and where do you think he goes? Like, who's needy enough for a corner to shell up what they might want?
Ooh, 30 years old though.
At 30 years old, I don't know, honestly. He's good. He's been a starter for a while, but I don't know where else he could go.
See, Anthony.
We started talking about the Colts and the Titans fan got scared.
He
heard me talking shit.
He heard you talking shit. He heard you talking shit.
I gotta go real quick. I'll be right back.
Heard that. Kenny Moore.
But he's been okay with his production. I don't think he's the best, and I get it. Sometimes a fresh start is needed elsewhere. He's been playing in the league since 2017. If he can figure out a place to pick him up, so be it. That's best for both parties involved. But now we have, unfortunately, Sauce Gardner and all that. I don't know why we still traded a first-round pick for Sauce.
Not 1.
2.
2 of them things.
I feel like that meme. This is where I'd place my first-round pick if I had one.
If I had one.
If I had one.
That's like one of my
put
favorite
that in your
cartoons.
background, like on your shelf. I would put that. I would put like reserved for 2028 first-round pick.
Oh boy. So, can I just say something about this?
Yeah.
Kenny Moore allowed an 89.2 passer rating. I don't think you're getting a lot out of him, to be honest.
He's getting up there in age, unfortunately. I think it's almost time for him to start winding down his career.
What?
He really strikes it because, like, I almost feel like he's too short to make a transition to safety this late in his career. Because he's been more of like a nickel corner for the Colts for the past decade, essentially.
Oh yeah.
Or has he played more outside corner than anything?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
If Kenny Moore's been more of an outside guy, I think he could go to somewhere that doesn't really have that great of a slot corner and probably slot in okay, honestly.
I've never even heard this name, to be honest.
Never heard Kenny Moore?
No.
Wild.
I think it's because, to be honest, I was out of football from like 2010 to like 2022.
When did he make that Pro Bowl? Now I'm curious.
He had a 68.
2021. He went to the Pro Bowl in 2021. That's one-time Pro Bowler Kenny Moore to you.
In his 8 careers.
Eight careers? That's a lot of careers.
Jesus.
At the time,
That's
of
a lot of careers.
9 seasons, I mean.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this. So one of my viewers, Sam Poyle, At the time of the Sauce Gardner trade, almost everybody in the national media was on board. How did you feel as a Colts fan?
You gotta repeat that. You cut out.
Oh. So at the time of the Sauce Gardner trade, almost everybody in the national media was on board. How did you feel when that trade went down?
I thought it was good. I know Sauce Gardner was good. He is good. I just think we overpaid for two first round picks for him.
Okay. So that's your feeling, not like outside, because you're the only one that can tell me what was like. You live in Indiana, obviously, that area. What was the vibe like for Colts fans?
Well, I think during that trade we were still on we were going into our major win streak, so the vibes were good until we lost Daniel Jones, and then the vibes returned to normal, which is sadness and despair.
So you didn't have a problem with Sauce Gardner. You just had a problem with giving up 2 first rounds. And I would say that
we overpaid for him. It's 2 first round picks. That is something you give to a top notch player that knows you can get a championship out of him.
I do want to play a little bit of defense for Sauce right here too, because like it's not that like his coverage numbers have like completely dropped off. There's a couple of things that you're kind of like, okay, that's weird. But like his completion percentage given up last season between both teams was 48.9. Like he only gave up 302 total yards. And when he went to Indy, his yards per completion went from 17.3 to 8.6. He gave up 77 yards as an Indianapolis Colt.
He's a damn good player. It's just, is he 2 first round picks good?
Wrong player, wrong time. I feel like is kind of gotta be part of the discussion on that.
I think
at this point, our cornerback room is just stacked a bunch of people right now.
I do think it also made Kenny more expendable, and I think that's why this trade is getting explored. Which Kenny Moore, he's not bad, but like again, like the passer rating thing comes up. Gave up an 87 last year, which is actually like in kind of his career lows. Actually, because like lowest or best to worst, it ranks 5th in passer rating allowed. His lowest was 2019 with a 76.8. Highest was 2022 with a 117.
That's bad.
Let me sort by his seasons real quick. Like last season, like was actually the lowest completion percentage he gave up in his career at 62 flat.
But he only played 14 games. In 2022, he played 12 games. So there's an inconsistent, like, whether or not he's playing or not. I think he's like a fringe, like, player, you know? Like, he's okay. I think you get like a 5th,
he's not
4th round.
Amazing.
Maybe 6th. I don't think you're going to get a lot for him. And that's not...
I think right now he's probably a high-end CD5.
Special teams.
If he get to the right team, he may play better, but he's okay, not great.
Yeah. Probably gonna net you guys, what, about 5?
A 5th round, maybe.
5th or 6th, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe if some team's willing to really go for it, a 4, but I think you peak at a 4.
Could be worse, could be Dontavius Wicks.
But I think since we got Sauce Gardner, it kind of just, we don't have use for Moore anymore. Since we have Gardner now.
Based on like his stats, though, like he's kind of a weak link on your defense.
Well, our defense has been
atrocious.
Not great, anyways.
The way I look at it, it almost literally could not get any worse than Damari Mathis. Like, not that Damari Mathis has played, but like I'm just shooting a quick little comp here. Like,
don't hit him, okay?
Like the bridge between bad and okay is such a jump. Because if you've got a team that's putting up Damari Mathis numbers, and I'm talking a career 101.2 rating allowed, and like his last time like getting any significant starts, he gave up a 128.4. Like, if you can go from that to Kenny Moore, that's an upgrade. Right?
Yeah, it just depends on the situation he goes to and whether or not he's even going to be, because 5'9", 5'9", if he's slow, you're not gonna
He's gonna get torn apart.
Yeah.
He's gonna be putting up Damari Mathis numbers.
Based on our current depth chart from the Colts, right now Kenny Moore is playing nickel in
Yeah.
our defense.
Yeah.
Which, I don't see, we don't have a second or third nickel cornerback right now.
Might draft one.
Again, like, it's not bad production. You can get better. I feel like there's some situations where playing the slot is a bit harder than playing outside, just because you are usually up against shiftier guys.
Yeah.
And this is just me kind of playing devil's advocate on Kenny Moore here. I don't think he's awful. I think you could do a lot worse than Kenny Moore.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just don't. I don't think he commands a lot. And
No.
I think the difference is, and I'm going to use this kind of like player. It's not like a 1-to-1 comparison, but like Asante Samuel's
Not at all.
5'10".
Yeah.
But like his instincts, or just what's never the
Chris Harris was short too.
Yeah. Like Asante Samuel was 5'10", but his instinct, he wasn't even fast. But his instincts, and I don't know enough about Kenny Moore to like judge whether or not he has that skill set.
Yeah. Yeah, because Chris Harris was also 5'10", 199, and he played, what, 12 seasons? Or, yeah, he played 12 seasons in the NFL. You can do it.
I think corner... Oh, sorry.
So in terms of cornerback right now with the Colts, our depth chart is Sauce Gardner, Mekhi Blackman, I think that's how you pronounce it, and Cameron Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with how many names you got there, and like there's probably, you guys are probably gonna draft a guy.
I think so.
We'll probably draft a nickel to do something.
How's your safety position?
I gotta find that.
You guys can't even get Caleb Downs, huh? He's going to go early. I really like Caleb Downs. But he might have degenerative knee issues.
Strong safety right now is, based on their depth chart from the Colts website, our second is Robert Lowry III. Or Reuben Lowry III. How do you pronounce that?
Hold on. Let me look him up. Reuben?
Reuben.
That's Reuben. Reuben what?
Lowry. Lowry.
Okay, yeah. The third.
Rookie. Well, second-year guy now.
Let's see what he did last year. Oh, boy. You want to know his overall grade was 34?
Probably not.
It was a 34 out of 100.
Our free safety is Cam Bynum.
Oh, but he didn't even play that much. He just allowed a 130.6 passer rating. But he didn't play.
He was a Raven last year.
Our free safety is Cam Bynum.
Cam Bynum.
Bynum's pretty good. I like Cam Bynum.
This is fun.
All right, couple more things I wanted to touch on before we get out of here. We are getting towards that hour mark. I figure we kind of try and wrap this up a little bit because these are two kind of like brush under the rug a little bit. Travis Hunter did end up picking a position. That position is corner. I don't know. I feel like from the Jags' perspective, like I feel like a lot of why they picked Travis Hunter was to also be a weapon for Trevor Lawrence. and now they're just like, you know what, you're gonna play corner, and they're gonna try again at receiver. So I almost wonder. I don't know with Travis Hunter in particular. Like, I'm sure there were concerns about the workload. I already felt like Jacksonville was pretty well off at corner. I really liked Monteric Brown last year. So I feel like slotting Travis onto defense. I just do they like do you feel like he's better on defense? Like if you're Jacksonville, or that his skill set suits it better? I wonder.
Dang, if
Like
only
I'm
answer
sure I'm sure they forced him to pick a position because they didn't want to put a two-way workload on him, but like you can't still like trot him out every now and again.
You could, but you have to remember who's running the Jaguars. And
what? You cut out so bad.
I said you have to remember who's running the Jaguars, and I think Ender will agree with me, and Anthony would agree with me that
The Cons.
Tony
Tony
Khan,
and his father.
Yeah.
they really don't know what they're doing in the football business or the wrestling business. So
I even from a business perspective, like I feel like having a two-way player has got to be like the biggest PR win ever.
it's Tony
I do
Khan.
have another topic to bring up after this one, and this one is for Trent.
Oh boy.
7 hours ago, Packers trading wide receiver Tavion Wicks to the Eagles for 2 day 3 picks.
Oh.
I think it depends on. I do like it that he has some thing to do with Sean Mannion, but seeing 322 yards and 2 touchdowns last season, I don't know how to feel. I don't know enough about the player. He might be like a player that like is on the preseason roster and then gets cut.
I feel like if you're committing 2 picks though, like that can't be the case. And he's had some pretty okay production given being in a more like reserve role. I feel like 581 in 23, 415, 332 last year. Yes, but like his target share did go down in 25. And I feel like just a lot of that was him not seeing the field. I can go find that real quick if I could find the snap percentage.
The Jags
you're
like
doing
to
that.
tease us. It looks like they are about to turn the corner and then back to disappointment.
Yeah, he only like his career high in snaps played was 54%. I don't know how many more snaps he gets as an Eagle on offense, but
In terms of the picks they gave up for him, they gave up a 2026 5th round pick and a 2027 6th round pick.
He might do. It's hard to say because the Eagles in the last few years haven't really used their slot receiver well, or their third receiver well. That's.
is it they haven't used him well, or they just refuse?
I feel like they refuse, just for the fact that like they had Jahan Dotson, and I thought he was a good player in Washington. Not great, but I think he's better than Dontavian Wicks, sorry. But they didn't use him. Like he had like what 100 yards last season. I can't remember. Was very low.
You said Jahan Dotson?
Yeah.
He had last
2025,
season
he had
262.
Yeah. So they're not even using their third receiver.
Yeah.
Is that going to change this year? I hope so.
Well, because if anything, Dallas Goedert is that third receiver in the offense. Isn't
He
like,
is.
essentially?
But
If anything, he's almost wide receiver 2.
that is true. What I'm saying is, it's like we were talking about like the Mark Sanchez led whatchamacallits.
The 09, 2010 Jets.
They had even their like fourth receiver had like 400 yards.
Yeah, something like that.
But I like Jalen Hurts. I really do. I want to see this offense. They have so much potential on offense that they can use all these weapons. And I don't know if it was last year in the coaching, but they just had a track record. They've just had a track record the last couple of seasons of not using that third receiver.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm rambling on.
No, it's valid. All right.
This is just a quick one we can fire off. received that Falcons are picking up running back Bijan Robinson's fifth-year option.
Yay!
Surprise, surprise! Oh, I'm so shocked.
Good pickup. One of
Good
the
pickup.
better ready. He's already 4 years in.
Yeah, or like 3 or 4. Bijan, yeah, dude. Bijan's good though. Like that, shivering me timbers. I'm so shocked that the Falcons picked up his 5th-year option.
Nah, they should have sent him to the Colts. Give him away.
For Jonathan Taylor?
I was just saying to give him to the Colts straight out, but okay.
You would do that? I think Jonathan
Yeah,
Taylor is.
They could have given him to the Orange Horse team. So,
That'd actually
You
be.
guys got enough.
well, for 10 games, we'll have enough.
I mean, we could give up Barkley for him.
You two have been closer to a Super Bowl than I have.
Oh,
I
I've
feel
been.
like Bijan is almost a younger Saquon. Just like he put his skill tree more into agility than power.
I'm getting nervous that Saquon's gonna be 30 next year.
He's gonna be what?
30 next year.
Oof.
But you never know.
Let's say in terms of our teams who need help, it's my team that needs the most help.
No, it's the Titans. But you don't want to help the Titans.
Eagles are Super Bowl champions recently. Broncos were one game away
last year.
Colts have won a Super Bowl.
And in other
We won
news,
two.
Mike Vrabel did not have sexual relations with that woman.
He was just getting the latest scoop from the news.
Maybe
That
it was an
was
interview.
That was the one thing I wanted to say on that. The joke just clicked into my head like 15 seconds ago, and I'm like, I have to make a Bill Clinton joke.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I think
That's
we'll-
the only thing I wanted to
We'll
say.
we'll end on that. And we'll end on,
Yeah, that was the one thing I wanted to say about Mike Vrabel.
and we'll
And the
That
one
was the
joke
one thing.
demonetized the whole stream.
Not that we were ever monetized anyways,
Yeah.
but you
True.
watching can help us get there by liking and subscribing. That is going to do it for our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a doozy. It was great to get back with the guys as well. Any closing remarks from you guys before we pack it up, get out of here?
what do you guys have coming out?
I'm hoping to get this IU video edited soon and out over the IU's 2025 season.
Nice.
Valid. I did the awards video for the 2025 Broncos yesterday. It's fucking sick. You should go check it out. And
I
then
only made slight mistakes in the spellings.
we fixed it though. We caught it and we fixed it. And then tonight I'm going to be actually streaming on the GD channel again. Probably going to be having a couple of Mickey Seltzers. So it's going to be all cool over there. Trent, what do you got, buddy?
The last 2 weeks have done picks, not picks, but like players 1 through 10 of the draft board, or yeah. And then I have finally pulled the trigger on doing an anti-power rankings. The Dishonorable
Nice.
5 just dropped today. Please watch. You have never seen anything like it, and you never will see anything like it on any other channel.
As a Colts fan, I'm
like it.
As a Colts fan, I'm kind of adverse to any form of power ranking,
Hey,
especially ones involving wheels.
well, this one. No, this one's a.
He
my-
has PTSD from Berta.
Look at it. Look at it.
No, Purdue's wheel had a vendetta against the Colts this season. I don't know why.
No,
You put that wheel back where it came from.
it's different. I pray for the team that it lands on. It has nothing to do with like curses or anything like that. It's a prayer for them. Whether it happens though, it's up to God. It's up to God whether it helps you or not.
With all
Anti-power.
the black magic that's going on with the Pacers last season getting to the Eastern Conference Final, and the Indiana Hoosiers winning the national championship, I don't think God's touching Indianapolis anytime soon.
Anti-power
We
rankings.
sacrifice too much.
Cards need. Yes. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but you guys check that out. who the wheel landed on. The Colts were not on the anti-power ranking, so you're safe.
They were too
Woo, we're
to
perfectly
be
mid.
bad.
Yes.
Mediocrity.
You're not the 5 teams that I chose. It'll expand to 10 once the season gets closer.
We embrace mediocrity here.
All right.
That's gonna do it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much. Don't forget to like and sub. Everyone's in my description, Trent's description. And with that being said, have yourselves a wonderful night, everybody.
Merry
It's
Christmas.
been fun. Merry Chrysler.
Merry Crimbo.
Crimbo.